Hello, I'm BBX and welcome back to the video. So Minecraft is meant to be a game that's filled with unlimited exploration and unlimited possibilities, right? This is one of the things that it's sold as, and it's one of the things that lures so many of us into the game. This is why they keep adding brand new structures and new biomes and new things like that for people to explore to make the game feel fresh and new and surprising and stuff. However, despite all these years of development and all these years of survival updates, there is still only 6 trees in the game. There's technically 8 if you count the double trees, but only 8 different types of trees is a really no number given how much they can actually add to a particular biome or take away from it, or make it more challenging, or make it better, or something like that. So I figured in today's video, why not talk about 10 trees that could be easily added to Minecraft? You know, like this could be one update that could be done in one day that could make the game just feel a lot more alive and feel a lot more varietatious. That's not a word, but I hope you do all enjoy today's video regardless. You can like it if you do, because it helps out the channel out and lets know you do like these sorts of videos, showing off all the different, trees and biomes and stuff like that. So this video was made with a lot of help from Beth from Facebook, big thank to her, but let's get straight into talking about this first tree right here, which as you can see is in my little swamp. So this is part of my creative world that's got loads of custom biomes, and this first one is a swamp. I mean, it's a little bit of a mix of a swamp with a weird thing, but basically this is my swamp, and this is my swamp tree that I think should be added to the game, because this is a way more interesting version of what we have right now. Right now, you find oak trees in swamps, and they're just oak trees that are in swamps with vines on, and I get that that might be something people want, but I think you should make these swamp trees way more, interesting. Make them something that people like to see, and that people go, wow, yeah, that's a way better looking tree, because then you're going to inspire some people to be more. You're going to make the biomes feel more different, because again, right now, there's, there's like 50 biomes, but there's only 6 trees between them, so it means that every biome kind of feels the same if it has the same type of tree. But if you actually mix up the tree from biome to biome, for instance, making this swamp tree not only this giant thing, but also make it spawn in the water, make it this giant, monolith that can come out of there, you'll make the biome feel a lot more like a real swamp, and you can also, again, have this, much better experience with people who come there, and that's the first kind of example. It's just like, take the same blocks we have right now, be better with a new type of block, but even just using oak trees and oak leaves, you can still get this much better effect, from the ocean. So here's one type of tree, and there is another type of tree that you could have spawn from your swamp tree, and yeah, the second type of tree is actually going, I'm going to say tree a lot this video, but the second type of tree is actually going to be the cherry blossom tree. So this is one of my favorite ideas, and I mentioned this like years ago now, and it's one of the best, ways they could add a new type of tree to the game, because have, some form of, new wood, have the cherry blossom be on the outside, and you could even make this like a pink type of, leaves, or if you really wanted to, you could literally make it pink wool like I've shown off right here, because having a source of pink wool that isn't just having shear sheep would be a really great addition to survival, because then players like me who don't like to shear sheep, because, wolves get in there, it's a whole mess. If there are players like me out there, what they can instead do is they can just, find one of these pink trees, and they can mine that for all the pink wool they need. But also, these are they're just such a colourful type of tree. Whenever you look at them, you're like, that would be an amazing biome, and just by having a rare chance for forests to spawn with cherry trees instead of regular ones, you can make, like forest exploration and looking for those trees a much bigger part of the game than, oh yeah, is there a forest? Yeah, I guess that means I have 600 trees I don't need. Instead, it could be this real exciting event when this happens instead, and that's why I think cherry trees would be an amazing addition to Minecraft, and that's why they're the second of the 10 trees I think we need in the game. So the third of the 10 trees I think we need is probably this tree right here, which is like what I like to call an outpost tree. So again, it's made from spruce wood. It could ideally have its own type of wood, or really, it could just be a giant type of oak tree that can spawn in the water. But the basic idea behind this one is that it's going to provide a way for people to climb up it. So if you want to get, you want to get a viewpoint of an ocean or anything like that, you could have this right there. But also, as well as being a viewpoint thing, it also just makes any lake or ocean look a lot better for having one of these there. It gives more variety than just this giant sea of water, which is boring to look at. So instead, this is what they look like right here. If you break a few blocks and you do a few things, they will end up at the very top, and we can use it as a lookout to see everything else in the world. Like, ooh, there are some pipes. There's a picture of me backwards. There's a giant llama / dog thing. And I think that would be a, I think that'd be a big advantage to the tree. It's kind of like the jungle thing, but a lot easier to climb. But also, it has the benefit of making the, again, any lake and ocean just look a little bit better. And I think having any form of tree spawning from the water would be a really good idea. So here's another example of one of those. And yeah, that is the kind of outpost tree. Again, it's in my head, it looks like the outposts from, like the Wind Waker spawning in the water. But you could also just make it like any form of, jungle tree, just made out of spruce, just anything like that would make this tree an amazing addition to lakes or oceans. So with that said, I think I accidentally hit a cactus. Let's move on to the fourth type of tree I think Minecraft needs, which is this one right here. So this would be for a brand new ice biome, or you could just put it in random ice plains biomes, because as you can see, they're frozen trees. So when trees go to the frozen plains biomes, they get really cold, and if they're not, spruce trees, they're not the target trees, then what happens is they of course freeze. So as you can see, there's some ice thrown in there, so that's some free ice if you need it, because there's not enough of that in snow biomes. But I think these trees, again, add a lot of atmosphere. You look at them and you think, ooh, yeah, something kind of creepy happened here. But also it means that if you do spawn in snow plains, then you can still have access to a tree. In this case, it's oak wood. But just having oak trees replacing all the leaves with a few bits of ice can really make for a biome that feels like a brand new biome. Or again, if you have to add it into an existing biome, it can make that biome just a little bit more functional and a little bit more useful. So yeah, that's a wonderful little thing I'd like to see right there. So with that said, let's move on to the fifth type of tree I think would be amazing, and this is another one where it's kind of creating a brand new biome, because these are sort of jungle trees. I mean, they're not really jungle trees, but they're sort of jungle trees that could make for a really light density jungle biome, because right now, jungles are either really hard to get through, or they're really, really hard to get through. Like, most jungles are annoying, there aren't many jungle flat areas, so why not have a type of jungle biome that's pretty much flat? It just has a few bushes, a few bits of trees, and then you could have a, again, a biome that feels not even really like the jungle too much at all, but it could be a much more manageable version of that if you want to find the jungle stuff, but you don't want to go into this big mess. And, maybe you could argue like, oh, the big mess is what makes the jungle great, but I don't really agree that personally, and if you do think of that, then, maybe you'd like to see this brand new type of biome as something else entirely. Make it just, make it a different type of biome altogether. Whatever you have to do, that's a thing I'd like to see, though, because having a jungle biome or having a new type of biome with something like this just kind of inspires me. It makes me go, yeah, that would be wonderful to find, wouldn't it? At least in my opinion. So, with that said, here is the sixth type of tree. This one is just for any biome in the game, but it generates with oak trees, so a forest. Just have a random tree like this generate in there every now and then, or a random tree like that. Adding more tree variety like this or like that, just more trees to any place can make any biome feel a bit better than the current system where every tree is the same within like 3 blocks and they're going to be roughly the same number of leaves. Sometimes you get size differences in jungles, but that's really about it. So the next type of tree I wanted to show off is this one right here, because again, this is a great example of like, take existing blocks, use them to make something else, and then we get something that's a little bit more fascinating than normal. So this is a mushroom block tree with birch leaves coming from it, and I think this would be an excellent tree to spawn inside the roof forest, or indeed just inside any biome as like a random permutation, because adding random permutations to the game makes them feel rare, makes you feel cool when you find them, and also it just makes the game feel a bit more alive when you can find stuff like this every now and then. Make it a rare biome, make it a random permutation, whatever you have to do. I would really like to see these spawn into the game. So here is an existing tree, as you can see. I mean, it's not quite as exciting everything else we found, but this is what acacia trees look like. This is what they're going to always look like. They're always going to be roughly sloped with this little thing there, and that's what I mean by like all trees are roughly the same, which is why all these current ones would be so much more exciting than, oh yeah, there's that orange looking wood, which is already kind of like a rare new addition to the game by itself. So, anyway, next up we've got these giant birch trees. So you know how you have the birch, biome with the birch trees, and then you have the birch forest M, where you've got the really tall birch trees. What if you had the birch forest MMM biome, or the just MM, or MMM, well, how many M's you want, just to make this super tall birch biome, because again, I feel like when you have a tree type that even changes by just a little bit, you really change the theme of the biome. You really make, the experience of chopping down this tree is going to be a really bizarre one, but you just get this entirely different experience that I think would be much more exciting, because, ooh, I'm walking through the biggest birch forest I've ever seen, and you could do this with any type of tree, honestly. You could have, like, spruce forest M biomes, and you could just make the game way, bigger and way more varietatious with literally a single change to how tall the tree can generate, because although there are some changes to the leaves on all of these, as you can probably work out, the tree itself is a pretty basic one to do. You could make this in survival very easily, and that maybe is part of the idea behind this video, that you can maybe make yourself some trees, like this one right here, which is kind of made for the mesa biome and made for the desert. So yeah, this is just like a dried, again, it's like a dried out kind of tree. It's just a big stick in the wilderness, but it could be climbed in theory. I mean, you could make it like a parkour challenge, that'd be fun. But it could be climbed in theory. It could be the sort of thing where you just leave it and it's a lot of wood for the desert, but either way, it does mean that there's some way to get wood in the desert that you previously would not be able to get. So yeah, I think that's wonderful. I think it's a great addition to my little desert biome, or my desert / mesa biome I have here, and that's why I'd love to see it right there. So if we move on from that, and indeed on from this thing right here as well, let's talk about the next type of tree, the final type indeed, which is I think the kind of palm tree. So I think there needs to be more like desert biomes in the game, but why not have one, this isn't really a palm tree, but why not have one that looks a little bit like this? This is the very dried out kind of palm tree, so it's shielded by the leaves so it doesn't get too worn out, and basically this would be a great way to find wood if you are inside your desert. And again, just using an existing type of tree. None of these have used any brand new blocks. This is all done in legit survival. Just by using jungle trees and jungle leaves and just rearranging the blocks a little bit, we get this entirely different looking tree. Look at these things. I think they look amazing personally, and I would love it if you did agree. But even if you don't, you might you can look at this and you can say, yeah, that would be a pretty cool biome to have, because it means that if you're in a hot if you're in hot biomes right now, you find desert, you find mesa, or you find the hill versions of both those things, and occasionally savanna. But what if you could find something that's like none of that? It's covered in sand, which is the thing you might want. It doesn't rain necessarily, but it also has the advantage of finding these very, very lush places to hide underneath. And also, if you want to make it even more fun, just as a last idea before we go here, why not have it so there's little secrets found amongst some of these trees every now and then, like pirate maps and stuff like that. Boom, there's an idea. There's like 50 ideas. I hope at least one of these makes it through to the development team, because I really feel like more trees are needed in Minecraft, and I hope if someone was just lost for ideas, this kind of gave it to you. But also, if you're just trying to build trees for your survival map, or you're building new biomes, or you're just kind of curious about what the game could have, have. I hope this video did satisfy your curiosity regardless. You can like the video if you did, because it helps out the channel a lot, and lets know you do like these sorts of videos. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here to IVX Toy Cat, the cat that looks like this, but a little bit less derpy, because if you do, you'll see these videos every single day on your channel, and if you subscribe, that's where you'll see them. And also, on your homepage, I should say. Also, if you hit the bell, then you'll see notifications, and that means you can guarantee you see every upload, as opposed to just maybe seeing them, which is something you might want. So yeah, hit the bell me, guys, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. It's actually so ridiculous to say bell me, honestly, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Bye.